Hey everyone, welcome back to my favorite Norns scripts. I'm very excited to return to the series with Andrew C.S.'s Ripples. I'm a huge fan of Andrew's work and have covered 2 other scripts in previous episodes. Like the other 2, Ripples is user-friendly and easy to understand while also being deep and interesting. Ripples is described as a vari-speed multi-tap echo with 3 taps, 1 for recording, 2 for playing. Cycle through 3 buffers, alter the rate of each playback tap independently from the record tap to create sliced rhythmic and harmonic counterpoint from the input signal in real time, free from tape head collisions and audible clicks. This may sound a bit confusing, but it's really intuitive when you start messing around. Ripples has 4 pages. You can flip between the pages using button 2. I'm going to start with the first one labeled C, which I'm assuming stands for clock. The rotating triangle in the center of the screen represents the 3 buffers, and the dots follow the playback and record heads. There are 3 parameter controls available on this page. Encoder 1 controls the clock rate. The clock rate affects the speed at which the tape head cycles between buffers. The speed is relative to the global clock tempo and is measured in beats. In the documentation, Andrew lists what these rates sound like. Low values, less than 1, give a pseudo-granular effect. Mid values, 1 to 2, are a sort of chop delay. Whole numbers are a synced rhythmic delay. And large numbers, anything over 2, are chopped tape loops. Andrew did a great job on the documentation for this script, and I highly recommend you read it for further clarification. There will be a link to the GitHub page in the video description. Now back to the final 3 parameters. Encoders 2 and 3 control the volume of buffers 1 and 2. The last control on this page is the buffer freeze toggle. Button 3 will freeze the audio in the buffers and loop them indefinitely. If you want to clear the buffer instead, hold button 3. Before I move on to the next page, I want to give a little example of what the different clock rates sound like. The clock rate is set at 1, now I'm just going to play a few notes. As you lower the clock rate, it gets more granular. And as I increase it, you'll hear that there's silence added because I recorded such a short segment. The next page is labeled R, which I'm guessing stands for rate. Once again, we have 3 available parameters plus the ability to toggle buffer freeze with button 3. Encoder 1 sets the rate of the record head, and encoders 2 and 3 set the rates of buffers 1 and 2. With the record rate at 1, there are multiple harmonic relationships available by adjusting the 2 buffer speeds. These relationships get even more complex as you change the record rate. There's a great chart in the manual which explains all this in depth. Once again, I'm going to play a few notes so you can hear what these rate changes sound like. Up next is the feedback page. Encoder 1 sets the amount of signal sent from the record head back to the record head. This functions similarly to the decay control on a standard delay. Encoders 2 and 3 allow you to send the audio from buffers 1 and 2 back into the record buffer. This enables repeated pitch shifting and can sound like a shimmer reverb at high feedback amounts. To demonstrate how this works, I've set the rate to 2. I'm going to slowly increase the amount of signal from buffer 1 back to the record head, and every time it hits the record head, it'll be doubled in speed. Finally, we have the filter page. Ripples comes with a high pass and low pass filter built in. Something to note is the high pass is only applied to the input and the low pass is only applied to the output. Encoder 1 controls the resonance for both filters. Encoder 2 handles the high pass and encoder 3 the low pass. I'd like to reiterate the warning in the manual to be careful with the resonance value. If you increase it too much, it will feed back on itself and can get very loud. Most of the controls in the parameters page are available from the main interface, but there are a few additional things here. First, in the rate section, we have a slew control. Like the slew controls in most scripts, this will make changes in rate glide instead of being instantaneous. There's also the tilde, which if selected will introduce a quick pitch wobble. Next, in the clock section, there's the fade control. This is used for cross-fading tape head jumps. According to the manual, this is only really relevant for very fast clock speeds and has a textural effect. The second and last new control in the clock section is reset. This allows you to jump to the next buffer. The input section has two controls that aren't available in the main interface. Routing allows you to set whether the signal coming in is stereo or mono. Pan allows you to set the pan. Output gives access to similar controls for the audio going out of the script. The volume record parameter allows you to hear the playback straight out of the record head and bypasses the low pass filter. The last new control in this section is routing. This allows you to set whether the output is stereo or split mono. The final hidden parameter is in the filter section. State allows you to enable or disable the low pass filter. I've really enjoyed my time with Ripples, and this will definitely be one of my go-to scripts going forward. Andrew continues to impress with unique takes on simple delays. Like I mentioned earlier, there's an extensive manual, and Andrew has also released a video going over some more advanced uses. I'll have links to both these in the video description. There are a couple of other scripts I'm planning on covering in the coming weeks, so there won't be another 9-month wait before the next video. I'd like to thank everyone who's been watching the previous episodes and subscribing during my hiatus. That's going to do it for today's episode. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.